Copper, the reddish-golden metal that powers our homes, our phones, our computers, and even our cars. Every year, the world consumes over 25 million metric tons of copper. But did you know that nearly 1/3 of it doesn't come from mines? Instead, it comes from recycling. In today's episode, we'll step inside a supergiant copper recycling facility where millions of old wires are stripped, shredded, melted, and reborn as brand new copper. Ready to fuel the modern world again. This is recycling on an unimaginable scale. Before we dive into today's mind-blowing journey inside a supergiant copper recycling plant, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. On this channel, we explore the hidden world of mega factories, incredible processes, and the amazing ways everyday things are made. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Copper is one of the most valuable metals on Earth, not just for its conductivity, but also because it can be recycled infinitely without losing quality. That's right, copper can be melted down and reused again and again, always as good as new. Mining fresh copper ore is expensive, destructive to the environment, and energy intensive. But recycling copper? It saves up to 85% of the energy compared to mining. That's why copper wires, pipes, motors, and even tiny scraps are collected worldwide to be reborn. And where does a lot of this copper come from? Discarded electrical wires. Inside this plant, mountains of tangled multicolored wires, once used in homes, electronics, and vehicles, wait for their second life. It all begins with trucks rolling in, carrying tons of used copper wires. These might come from construction demolitions, old appliances, or even massive utility upgrades. At the facility, workers and machines sort the incoming wires. Thick, high-purity copper cables are separated from mixed wires that contain more insulation and impurities. Everything is weighed and tracked. Even at this early stage, nothing goes to waste. Every kilogram of copper has value. Next, the wires move into industrial wire stripping machines. Imagine giant rollers with sharp blades peeling off the rubber or plastic insulation at high speed. Some wires are stripped clean, others are shredded into tiny fragments. The shredded mix is then fed into a granulator, a powerful machine that tears the wires into small pieces, separating copper from insulation. On one side, you get shiny copper granules. On the other, heaps of plastic waste. But here's the mind-blowing part. With advanced separation systems using airflow and vibration tables, this plant achieves up to 99.9% purity copper recovery from shredded wires. The clean copper granules are then transported to the melting furnace. Here, temperatures soar above 1085 degrees Celsius, 1980 degrees, the melting point of copper. Giant crucibles swallow thousands of kilograms of copper, glowing molten red as impurities float to the surface. Skilled workers remove the slag, leaving pure liquid copper. This stage is mesmerizing, a river of glowing metal, ready to be reborn. The molten copper is then cast into giant shapes, depending on its next use. Sometimes it's formed into copper rods, which later become new wires. Other times, it's cast into cathodes or billets, used for industrial products like motors, electronics, and even coins. Each cast piece is cooled, cut, and inspected for quality. The copper that was once a tangle of waste wires is now indistinguishable from brand new copper mined from the earth. But what about all that insulation stripped from the wires? Surprisingly, it's not wasted. The plastic is shredded further and sometimes used as fuel in cement kilns, or recycled into other products like mats or piping. In this circular process, almost nothing is thrown away. This one facility alone can recycle hundreds of thousands of tons of copper wire every year. Globally, copper recycling saves over 100 million megawatt-hours of energy annually, enough to power entire nations. Without recycling, copper would quickly become scarce, and the cost of electronics, cars, and renewable energy infrastructure would skyrocket. As the world electrifies, building more solar panels, electric vehicles, and wind turbines, the demand for copper is expected to double by 2050. Mining alone won't be enough. The real secret weapon is recycling on a massive scale. From an old phone charger to a skyscraper's electrical wiring, every piece of discarded copper has a future. And giant recycling plants like this one ensure the cycle never stops. If you enjoyed discovering how millions of wires are reborn, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next incredible journey into the world of mega factories and mind-blowing processes. Paper is everywhere. From the cardboard boxes that arrive on your doorstep to the napkin you use at lunch, from the notebook you jot down ideas in to the packaging that protects your groceries. Paper is one of the most versatile and widely used materials on Earth. But with this massive use comes an equally massive problem: waste. Every year, humanity produces more than 400 million tons of paper and cardboard, and almost half of it is thrown away after just one use. Without recycling, we would be drowning in mountains of paper waste. And that's where the story of supergiant paper recycling plants begins. These are colossal facilities, some the size of entire sports stadiums, where mountains of discarded paper are transformed into brand new packaging materials. The process is nothing short of mind-blowing, taking yesterday's trash and turning it into tomorrow's box, tomorrow's shopping bag, or tomorrow's food container. To appreciate the genius of paper recycling, we need to understand the scale of the problem. The world throws away more than 200 million tons of paper waste every year. In the United States alone, around 67 million tons of paper and cardboard are used annually. Enough to fill more than 1,000 Empire State Buildings from top to bottom. But here's the good news. Paper is one of the most successfully recycled materials in human history. Nearly 70% of paper waste in the US is recycled, a rate higher than plastics, glass, or even metals like aluminum. In Europe, the rate is even higher, sometimes reaching 80%. This means the majority of the packaging you touch every day has already lived a previous life, perhaps as a school notebook, a cereal box, or even yesterday's newspaper. The journey of recycling begins when garbage trucks and collection services deliver tons of discarded paper to the gates of a recycling plant. Imagine convoys of trucks rolling in, each carrying 20 to 30 tons of mixed paper waste. These loads are dumped into vast receiving areas. Giant mountains of newspapers, office papers, magazines, cardboard, and shredded packaging. The first step is sorting. Not all paper is created equal. Glossy magazines, wax-coated cartons, and cardboard boxes all have different fiber qualities. Workers and machines separate the materials into categories. Contaminants like plastics, metals, or food waste are removed. This step is crucial because even small amounts of contaminants can ruin an entire batch. Automated conveyor belts, rotating screens, and air blowers help with separation. Heavy items like cardboard fall onto one belt, while lighter papers are carried elsewhere. Magnets pull out staples and paper clips. At the end of this stage, the paper is sorted, cleaned of obvious debris, and ready for the real transformation. Now comes the heart of recycling: pulping. Sorted paper is dumped into massive industrial blenders, called pulpers, which are often larger than swimming pools. Here, water and chemicals are added, and the paper is churned at high speed until it breaks down into a thick slurry of fibers known as pulp. Each ton of paper requires roughly 2,000 gallons of water during pulping, but most modern plants recycle and filter their water in closed-loop systems, dramatically reducing waste. The pulp at this stage is grayish, soupy, and filled with ink particles, adhesives, and other impurities. To clean it, the pulp undergoes screening and cleaning. Giant sieves remove clumps and plastic fragments. Centrifugal cleaners spin out heavier materials like sand and staples. After this, the pulp is washed to remove smaller contaminants and excess ink. If the recycled paper is going to be turned into bright packaging or printing paper, it must be de-inked. This is where advanced chemistry comes into play. The pulp is mixed with soaps, surfactants, and air bubbles in a process called flotation de-inking. The ink particles attach to the bubbles and float to the surface, where they are skimmed away. The result is cleaner pulp, though it may still have a grayish color. To improve brightness, bleaching agents like hydrogen peroxide or oxygen-based chemicals are added. Unlike old methods that used chlorine and caused environmental damage, modern plants rely on eco-friendly processes. After bleaching, the pulp looks surprisingly fresh, almost indistinguishable from virgin pulp made directly from trees. At this point, it's ready to be turned into paper once again. The cleaned pulp is diluted with water and pumped onto gigantic moving screens called paper machines. These machines can be more than 100 meters long, stretching across entire factory floors. As the pulp flows out, it spreads into a thin layer of fibers. The machine's screens allow water to drain, while suction devices and pressing rollers squeeze out even more moisture. Slowly, the web of fibers begins to bond together, forming a continuous sheet of paper. Giant heated rollers, some as big as cars, dry the sheet further until it is strong, smooth, and ready for use. From here, the paper can be cut, rolled, and customized. Some plants produce massive rolls weighing 20 tons each, wide enough to cover a football field. Others cut the sheets into smaller sizes for packaging or office supplies. Most supergiant paper recycling plants are geared toward one critical goal: producing packaging materials. With the boom of e-commerce, the demand for cardboard boxes, cartons, and food packaging has skyrocketed. In fact, more than 50% of recycled paper worldwide is turned into packaging. Large sheets of recycled paper are fed into corrugating machines to become cardboard boxes. Layers of recycled paper are glued together, with a fluted middle layer providing strength and rigidity. The result? Those Amazon or FedEx boxes you receive on your doorstep. Other recycled paper is converted into paper bags, trays, egg cartons, and protective packaging. Food companies increasingly rely on recycled paper as part of their sustainability pledges. Even luxury brands now wrap products in packaging made partly from recycled fibers. The benefits of paper recycling are massive. Now multiply that by millions of tons processed at supergiant plants every year, and the impact is enormous. Some of the largest plants recycle more than 1 million tons of paper annually, saving entire forests from being cut down and reducing pressure on landfills. Paper recycling isn't just local, it's a global industry. Countries like the US, Japan, and Germany are among the leaders in recycling rates. It is a cycle that saves trees, reduces pollution, and keeps our planet cleaner. And it is a reminder that even the simplest materials around us can have extraordinary second lives. If you enjoyed learning about how millions of tons of paper waste are reborn into brand new packaging, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We have many more incredible stories about supergiant factories, mind-blowing recycling processes, and the hidden science behind everyday products. By subscribing, you'll never miss another fascinating journey into the world of innovation. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. In the United States, millions of cars reach the end of their life every year. Some are the unlucky victims of highway accidents, twisted and mangled beyond recognition. Others simply grow old, engines worn, frames rusting, electronics failing, until repairs become more expensive than the vehicle is worth. But not all disappear into the shadows. In the heart of America's industrial landscape, there are places where endings are turned into beginnings. Today, we're taking you inside one of the most extreme processes in the automotive world. How old cars are stripped, crushed, and reborn as pure scrap metal. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos on incredible industrial processes from around the globe. Trust me, today's journey from a beat-up car to a gleaming pile of scrap metal will blow your mind. Before the real destruction begins, the car is picked apart with surgical precision. Workers move quickly, armed with wrenches, power tools, and an intimate knowledge of automotive anatomy. Every piece that can be reused, resold, or repurposed is removed. The headlights are unbolted and set aside, destined for resale to a body shop. Side mirrors, door handles, and the steering wheel are removed. Small parts that can still command a decent price in the used parts market. Wheels and tires are pulled off, their rubber still worth something to a driver somewhere. The catalytic converter is always a priority. Containing small amounts of precious metals like platinum, palladium, and rhodium, it's one of the most valuable components in a modern car. Mechanics handle it with care, knowing it might be worth more than all the other parts combined. Seats, seat belts, dashboards, all come out if they're in good condition. Even the battery is lifted out and sent to a separate recycling line, where its lead and acid will be processed under strict safety protocols. To a casual observer, this dismantling might seem like unnecessary effort before the crushing begins. But for the scrapyard, it's a vital part of the business. Selling these components helps offset the costs of operation and ensures that usable resources are not destroyed prematurely. Once stripped of its valuable parts, the car is drained of the liquids that once kept it alive. The process is methodical. A suction pump draws out the engine oil, thick and blackened from years of use. Coolant is siphoned from the radiator, its once bright green now faded to a dull, murky hue. Transmission fluid, brake fluid, and power steering fluid all flow into separate containers. Gasoline still left in the tank is carefully pumped out and stored for reuse. Even a nearly empty tank can yield a gallon or two, enough to be worth saving. This step is more than a matter of thrift. Left inside the car, these liquids would leak out during crushing or shredding, contaminating the soil and water supply. Oil can cling to soil particles for decades, and even a small amount of coolant can be deadly to wildlife. By draining every drop, scrapyards not only meet environmental regulations, but also fulfill an unspoken responsibility to protect the land around them.